Hey guys, Man945 here, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be making a review, the second one I said I was talking about, already the ReZero one. This one is going to be on Kaguya-sama, Love is War. Um, Now, I do feel like there is, like, some background details that I should mention with regards to my thoughts on romance in general. In case for people that might not be aware, um, in case like new viewers to this channel or anything like that. Um, Not a huge fan of romance in like 80% of the things I watch. Honestly, romance anime and related things have honestly been kind of a weird exception, but like there's very few like films and TV shows where I actually enjoy the romantic parts, mostly because I feel like it's always just romance for romance's sake. um and the thing that I really like that kind of like different about romance anime and Steins Gate, because Steins Gate is a romance anime without being a romance anime, incredibly, um, is the fact that like I really am discovering that I really like the kind of romance that's kind of dramatic and takes a more serious turn. And I'm not generally a big fan of like things that are just like lovey-dovey for no apparent reason. Um, Kaguya-sama is the complete exception to that. This is the one exception I found thus far. I don't know if there's going to be others. I have plans to watch like um, two other romance, technically three that are in my watch list right now. So I don't know. That might change in terms of my opinion on that. But so far, Kaguya-sama has been the sole exception with this kind of thing, because not only do I think it very well, it pretty handily. I still love Spy Family. I think Spy Family is great, but like this by far edges it out as the funniest anime I've seen thus far. um like I cannot like explain or express into words the amount of times that I completely died laughing at this show, because there were so many completely ridiculous things in this show, and like there were so many like character concepts and just characters in general that were completely ridiculous that I just adored. um Now, the first thing I really want to mention is the very unique way in which this story is structured, because it's not how I was expecting. Because, like, essentially, it's kind of like a cartoon in that, like, each episode kind of has like three, four, five like mini stories essentially, but like unlike every cartoon ever, they're all like interconnected, and it's all like surrounding the same plot. But instead of like having one episode follow the same plot for like 25 minutes, they have like different intervals of like four to five like short stories, I guess, if that makes any sense. But immediately off the bat, like, with something like this, with a romance, like, obviously the key is to, like, make both characters incredibly endearing. And that, I think, is definitely the biggest strength of the first season, is the fact that, like, it really it knows its premise so well, and it plays to its strengths incredibly. Um And because like the kind of like mental gymnastics in this first season is like exactly the kind of thing that you would expect from the premise of the show, and it's executed to perfection. It's like there's so many like I'm not going to go into specific examples, but like there's so many like I guess it's just a lot of really funny things. It's like there's so many like obscure things, like learning to use Twitter, not laughing at like inappropriate jokes, like you know this whole like mental battle about about like showing lunch or like school vacation options or like whether they're holding hands under an umbrella. It's like all these completely ridiculous things you would expect to find within the premise. And what that does is it creates this incredibly solid base that really like gets you glued in and gets you attached to the main two characters while really exploring a lot of their quirks and personalities. And then what the second season is able to do is because it has such a solid base on top of that it's able to build up and expand upon that by like introducing a ton of new really interesting side characters and also giving a lot of development to other side characters from the first season that didn't really get as much attention as Miyuki and Kaguya. Um, and honestly, like when I was thinking about my thoughts for the show, like initially I was thinking that that would kind of be potentially a detriment because it's less of a focus. But like the more I watch it, the more I'm just like the writing in all of the seasons is like this wonderfully perfect balance between like establishing a solid base, expanding the characters, and then also closing that up very satisfyingly. And the way that it does this, like the pacing structure and the way that it accomplishes this, is done better than a lot of other shows I've ever seen, anime or otherwise. So that's probably the biggest compliment I can genuinely give the show is because that's something I was genuinely impressed by because that was something I did not think was going to be plausible with like the structure of the story and its main premise. But the second season does such a good job of expanding these like things about other characters because what it will talk about well we introduce like Miko in this second season. We introduce Subame. Both of them are really entertaining characters, and then we get like an entire whole ass depressing backstory for Ishigami, which like really elevates his quality as a character, and his just general writing in overall is like amazing. But season two might have my singular favorite gag in this entire show, and that is the character that I'm referring to as Ramen Guy. I forget what his actual character name is, but he's like that character that is like a corporate businessman that is like in that random part of one episode in season two. It just like he's scouting out random like ramen shops, and then Fujiwara happens to wander in, and that entire exchange is like some of the hardest I've ever laughed at any television ever. Same thing can be said about the rap battle in season three. And speaking of season three, I think that by far the biggest strength of season three is, like I said earlier, the way it manages to conclude everything. Because it kind of like brings back elements of the first season with the mental warfare, but it also shows in a really, really unique way how Miyuki and Kaguya have, I guess, matured and grown. Because in the first season, the entire premise is like, a confession is a very bad thing, and that's why love is war or whatever. But then to see their development as they both are realizing, like, they both care and love about the other one too much to let that kind of thing get in the way. That's such a well written character progression. It's such a well written character progression. I cannot put it any other way than that. It's just it's genius, top quality writing right there. Um, on top of that, the way that it manages to like satisfy the relationship between Ishigami and Tsubame, as well as like Miko's entire whole thing, and Fujiwara being Fujiwara being really funny, and then like the way that it manages to conclude, like obviously I know it's not done yet, but like the way it manages to conclude the entire thing with finally a confession. At least I think that's what happened between Miyuki and Kaguya, and oh my gosh, the thing that caught me totally off guard, the way that like Miyuki asked Kaguya to come to the America with him. I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was just gonna be like a normal confession scene. That completely blew my mind. And then like the fact that they finally kissed, oh my gosh, it was so satisfying. Um yeah. Super, 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 super hyped for season 4. If like whenever that ends up coming out, which I'm really, really hoping will be sometime this year. I'm super, super excited for that. That's gonna be freaking great. And yeah, overall, I thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed this show, like a lot, a lot. This was absolutely wonderful, and I really, really enjoyed myself with this. Definite dub for romance anime in my book. But yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you later. Bye.